pool coping and follow-up question to a pool coping and waterline tile question. I want to upgrade my pool equipment. I currently have a DE filter, I believe, a pump, a gas heater, and here are a couple of pictures. It does look like a sand filter with a multi-port, top mounted. I doubt that would be a DE filter, just because of what I'm looking at here. And we've got an old,
looks like a Penter NT
gas heater, and it looks like we have a skimmer and a main drain, and then this is another T that comes from somewhere. Basic system. So what equipment would you suggest? We're looking at an in-ground pool that, I mean, kind of looks 1836 oblong-esque.
I guess I would first ask why. Why do they think they need to upgrade their equipment? Heater, I can kind of see that because that looks to me, at least the picture from here looks like an older Penter NT heater. And yeah, the components wear out, all of that. Here's the challenge with upgrading. Today, when you upgrade, you have to go to electronic ignition on a heater, which means now you have additional electrical involved because you have to now run power to the heater because it's electronic ignition. Which there's nothing wrong with that versus the older heaters. Most of them were pilot driven. They just can't be anymore. All kinds of regulations and rules just about everywhere have eliminated that. The filter, multi-port valve, top mount, while a top mount isn't as easy long-term to maintain versus a side mount where then you can get into the filter and change the media without removing plumbing and stuff. Not the worst case scenario ever. We certainly on occasion use some unions to help you take it apart, so not necessarily a problem. So I would ask, what do you think the problem is, and why do you think that would need to be replaced? Can't see anything from the pump end. Here's my thought: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For the most part, if it's not keeping your pool clean, that's one thing. If you're having sand leaking back into the pool, it's another thing. If the sand has to be changed because it hasn't been changed for 20 years, and you think it'd be better to put a new filter in, you could. It could be the case, but doesn't mean that it is. So let's just say for a minute, if you want, you're just heart set on replacing all of your equipment. I would do one of two things: stay with sand filter, a good pump, variable speed pump. I would upgrade and spend some extra money buying a variable speed pump. That way you can change the speeds on the pump itself, and obviously you're going to have an electronic ignition heater. So having said those things, to me, I would choose Pentair or I would choose Jandy, and I would do all of the equipment in the same brand, whichever brand you use. And there's several advantages to that. Number one, it all works together really well. But number two, then your warranty tends to get extended because you're using all of the same equipment. If it's possible, you have a top mount valve now, a multi-port valve, I would probably recommend that you have a side mount valve put on, just because it's going to be easier long-term to maintain that filter. The heater itself, again, it's going to have to be electronic ignition, so it really kind of doesn't matter.
So
and I don't have a brand preference when it comes to either one of those.
Well, with this pool system, then you would be looking at a Pentair Superflow pump. That would be your entry-level variable speed for this size of pool.
A TR60 filter.
TR60, so TR means it's a side mount, so you'll
versus
need the
TA,
filter
which is a top mount.
and multi-port. And that's approximately the size that we have looking in the pictures.
Great advice, the next section with the heater itself.
And then the pool heater, you'll probably go down a size.
You have to go down a size. So find out on the heater that you have.
So here's the pictures we're looking at.
If your heater is, let's say it's a 250,000 BTU NT heater, you're not going to want to go any bigger than 200,000 BTU in an electronic ignition, unless you're willing to spend the money to upgrade your gas line. Because what happens is if you try to replace an old heater with a current new heater, which is way more efficient than the old heater, and it's blower driven, what you're going to do is you're going to starve the heater of gas, and you're going to cause all kinds of problems, and you're going to end up spending the extra lots of money to replace the gas heater itself. So you have to step down one size at least, and then unless you're willing to spend the money to upgrade the gas line as well. So there you go.